Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing well in this heat that we have. Um, my name is Sumi, and I was just thinking about how I picked a book that has to do with dragons um, on this very hot day. But I didn't pick it because it was a hot day. I picked it because it's a new book about Amy Wu. We did a story previously called Amy Wu and the Perfect Bow, which I really enjoyed. So I have been very excited to get my hands on this book. So this is Amy Wu and the Patchwork Dragon by Kat Zhang and Charlene Chua. Amy Wu and the Patchwork Dragon. There's dedications here. It says, "For Michael, who always believes, and for everyone who loves Amy Wu." That's me, and hopefully you too. During story time, Ms. Mary reads Amy's class a book about dragons. Dragons that hoard treasure, dragons that blow fire, dragons that fight knights in gleaming armor. Afterward, she tells everyone to make their own dragons. Make them special, she says. Make them yours. Sam draws a dragon with enormous teeth. He crafts the wings from postage stamps. That's such a cool idea. Willa sculpts a dragon with a big fat belly. She strings daisies for the tail. Amy paints a dragon with a long, thin body. It has horns like a stag and claws like an eagle. Are you sure that's a dragon? Asks Sam. It doesn't look like a dragon, adds Willa. Amy says. Maybe they're right. Amy scribbles with her pencil and doodles with her crayons. She glues beads to the paper and some to her hair. Bits of dragons emerge. Dragons with shiny green scales, dragons with leathery wings. They look great. They look just like the dragons in Miss Mary's book, but none of them work. None of them feel quite right. These dragons are not the dragons Amy wanted to make. Time to clean up, says Miss Mary. I'm not done, cries Amy. The rest of their class put their dragons on the show and tell table, but there's nothing from Amy. Nothing at all. It says Kat, Wayne, Sam, Amy, nothing, and Willa. Willa and Sam come over after school, but Amy can't even smile. Oh dear, says Amy's grandma. Why the sad face? So Amy tells her. Her grandma gets a twinkle in her eye. Come, she says, let me tell you a story. That cat is eating a bough. She tells them about dragons that bring down rain, dragons that are wise and just, dragons that fly without wings. Amy runs to the attic. She remembers where she got the idea for her dragon. She pulls out something red and yellow, something with the big fat snout and golden horns. A dragon, gasps Sam and Willa. A dragon, agrees Amy. Amy's grandma puts on the costume's head, and Amy puts on the tail. Together, they dance down the attic steps and roar through the house. Maybe you can bring it to school, says Sam. Please, please bring it to school, begs Willa. Says Amy. She thinks about the dragons in Miss Mary's book. She thinks about the dragons in Grandma's story. Bringing this dragon to class would be great, but there's something missing. Something to make the dragon Amy's. After Sam and Willow go home, Amy begins to plan. She shows her sketches to her family. Will you help me? She asks. They measure out fabric and cut it into shape. They carve a cardboard frame and fasten the cloth. Amy knots together 3 silk scarves. Then she adds some beads and some glitter and a little more glitter, just because. Ready? Asks Grandma. Amy takes a deep breath. Ready, she says. Amy comes to school with a big paper bag. The other children gather around. Is it your dragon? Asks Willa. Show us, cries Sam. Amy puts on the dragon's head. She invites Willa and Sam beneath the dragon's tail. Together they dance through the classroom and roar between the desks. Everybody cheers. Miss Mary laughs so hard she can't even breathe. Amy's dragon is red and yellow. It has a big fat snout and golden horns. It has enormous green wings and a tail of 3 silk scarves and beads and glitter, lots of glitter. It works splendidly. It feels just right. It is exactly the dragon Amy wanted to make. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Here is a dragon activity to make your own dragon activity. And then there's some information here. It says Eastern Dragon. I'm going to read this to you. It says the Eastern Dragon is a symbol of good luck and strength in many cultures. It usually has a long, thin body and no wings. Its horns look like stag antlers and its claws look like eagle claws. Its body is covered in scales. Eastern dragons come in many different colors and can have a wide range of magic powers depending on the story. Often they are very intelligent. Now, I feel like I need to point out that this dragon activity calls for tracing paper. So what you would do is you would trace all these shapes out, and then you can cut on your tracing paper because we do not want to cut up our books, do we? Especially not the library books. Oh, and look, here's a Western dragon. Western dragons usually have 4 legs and one pair of big leathery wings. Like Eastern dragons, their bodies are covered in scales. Unlike Eastern dragons, they often breathe fire. Stories about Western dragons tend to show them as greedy creatures that live in caves and love treasure. Their horns tend to be sharp and pointy, and their claws look like lizard claws. And that is that. There's a picture of Amy Wu in the perfect bow, and there's a picture of our author, Kat Zhang, and our illustrator, Charlene Chua. And there's the back of our book. I think we get to see the whole thing if we go like that. All right, is there any more interesting information in the inside here? No, a little bit. Talks about how the illustrator liked to pretend to be a dragon sometimes when she was a kid, hiding under her bed, and that the author likes to travel. This is my last Facebook live streamed story for the time being. I hope you enjoyed it. The library has lots more books, and we are now open for you to be able to go get them. So please do find yourself some fun things to read. We're getting lots of cool things in all the time. And I forgot the next thing I was going to say because that's what I do sometimes. I think it's because it's hot and my brain's feeling a little bit smushy. Oh, I know. These videos will be on our YouTube page for a time. So if you want to check out more of our Storytime videos, you can find them there on the Spokane Public Library YouTube page. All right, thank you for joining me. I had a nice time reading to you, and I hope you had a nice time as well. Bye.